July 17th, 2023. Lagos, Nigeria. The air was thick, not just with heat, but with something worse. Something silent. A scent of metal and finality. It slipped under the door, settled on the tiles, clung to the curtains like a ghost that refused to leave. Inside a gated home in Oral Estate, Aja, there was no music playing. No laughter. No Instagram stories. No trace of the vibrant 21-year-old woman the internet knew as Augusta XXO. There was only stillness, and the shape of a lifeless body sprawled on the bedroom floor. The call came in anonymously. The voice was shaky, almost afraid to say the words. Please, there's a girl here. I think she's dead. Police arrived within minutes. What they found would stain their minds for the rest of their careers. The young woman had been stabbed multiple times. Mutilated, her face barely recognizable beneath the blood and bruising. Jewelry still on, nails perfectly done, as if she'd gotten ready for a photo shoot but ended up in a morgue. And the man who loved her? Gone. He didn't even call her family. He didn't even close her eyes. He just disappeared, left her there, alone, as if the life they shared online had never existed. But it had, and now, the internet would explode with one question. How does a relationship so perfect end like this?
Welcome to Twisted Crimes Files, where the darkest truths come to light. Stay with us for chilling stories you won't forget, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a case.
At first, it was intoxicating. The kind of relationship most girls dreamed about. The kind where you wake up to a "good morning, beautiful" text, followed by a screenshot of a surprise bank transfer. 200,000 Nigerian Nairas. 500,000 Nigerian Nairas. Go spoil yourself, he'd write. You deserve it. When Augusta met Benjamin Best, better known online as Killaboi, she didn't just fall in love. She fell into orbit. He was relentless in the beginning. Flowers every week. Personalized gifts. Bragging about her on his stories. Commenting, "Mine forever," under every photo. And she basked in it. How could she not? At 18, she was dating someone who treated her like royalty. A man who seemed to understand her dreams, cheer her wins, and never missed a moment to make her feel like the most important woman alive. But there was something no one told her. That when you meet a narcissist in love-bombing mode, it doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like magic. It's later. After the first slap, after the first scream, after the first time you're blamed for making him angry, that you realize what the magic really was. A trap. It started small. A raised voice when she didn't respond fast enough. Guilt tripping her for liking a comment from a male follower. Mood swings so sharp, she questioned what she did wrong even if she did nothing. And then came the apologies. Over the top, sweeping apologies that always arrived with luxury. A wig worth 100,000 Nigerian Nairas. A Versace perfume. A gold-plated bracelet with their names engraved. Each time he hurt her, he bought her silence. Each time she cried, he wrapped the tears in designer. To outsiders, the gifts were signs of love. But inside her world, they were payment for pain. By the second year of their relationship, Augusta's world had quietly begun to shrink. Her friends didn't notice it at first because she was still posting, still showing up online, still smiling in pictures. But behind the scenes, she was withdrawing. Late-night calls with her girls became texts that read, "Sorry, babe. I'm tired." Group trips were canceled last minute with vague excuses. And her captions, once full of humor and warmth, started to sound robotic. Like someone else was choosing her words. Feeling blessed. No place like peace. Loyalty is everything. The kind of captions that seem deep until you realize they say nothing at all. Her closest friend, Miriam, noticed first. She texted her one day, "You okay? You don't sound like you." Augusta replied, "I'm fine. Just busy. You know how Lagos can be." But Miriam knew it wasn't Lagos. It was him, because when they were on a call, Augusta would hesitate before speaking, like someone was listening. Sometimes, she'd whisper instead of laugh. And other times, she'd disappear mid-conversation. The last time Miriam saw Augusta in person, she hugged her and felt her bones. She looked beautiful, Miriam said later, but she felt hollow. July 8th, 2023. Augusta posted a TikTok of herself lip-syncing to a romantic audio. Her skin glowed, her edges laid, her eyes sparkling. Thousands of views. Comments flooded in. Wife material. Killaboi is lucky, yo. Godwin. But what the audience didn't know was that she filmed that TikTok in tears. Because that morning, they'd fought again. And this time, he'd slammed her phone so heart-cracked. She told him she needed space. He told her she'd regret leaving. 2 days later, she sent a voice note to her class rep. I won't be in school this week. Family emergency. But there was no emergency. Just Benjamin. Just the four walls of a house she was now too afraid to leave. She ghosted her friends. Skipped Zoom classes. Didn't post for 3 days straight, which was rare for her. And then, the messages began. From her alt account, to a friend named Bella. I feel like I'm disappearing. He goes from sweet to scary in seconds. I don't even know who I am anymore. Please don't tell anyone. I'm trying to keep things calm. July 11th. She uploaded a story of flowers. Peach roses. The caption read, he said I'm his forever. But what she didn't post was the argument right after. Because she'd asked to attend a school project meeting. And he said no. You don't need school. You have me. I'm building your future. You're lucky I love you this much. She never replied. That night, she wrote in her journal. It's like I'm drowning in honey. Sweet, but suffocating. On July 12th, just 24 hours before she was last seen alive, Augusta sent a DM to her cousin in Canada. It read, can I come stay with you? Just for a while. The cousin replied instantly, asking if something was wrong. Augusta left the message on read. She never replied. Later that night, she posted a photo on her Instagram story. A dinner plate. Candlelight. Caption, date night. But the plate was empty, and the candle was cold. She was creating the illusion. Even at the edge of her life, and the people who loved her were still believing the lie. July 13th, 2023, 11:09 p.m. A neighbor later described it as the kind of silence that feels like it's holding its breath. The house was dark, too quiet for a couple known for their loud music and even louder arguments. But then a sound, a muffled scream, a single crash, then nothing. Inside the apartment at Oral Estate, Augusta's phone lay face down on the floor, its cracked screen still lit, a half-typed message to her mother waiting to be sent. Mummy, please. That's all it said. Police would later use cell tower data and timestamps to reconstruct the final hour of her life. At 10:43 p.m., she tried calling her cousin again. It didn't go through. At 10:51 p.m., her phone unlocked. She opened her notes app. Maybe she was journaling. Maybe she was trying to remember something. At 11 p.m., CCTV from the estate captured Benjamin's car driving into the compound. Augusta wasn't seen again. What happened inside that room remains the stuff of nightmares. Detectives believe the fight began in the bedroom. It escalated quickly. Evidence showed torn bed sheets, smashed picture frames, and blood on the dresser. The knife was from the kitchen. She tried to run. Her prints were on the doorframe. There were signs of struggle, broken nails, defensive wounds on her forearms, bruises on her wrists and neck. And the wounds? Brutal, deliberate. At least 5 stab wounds to her abdomen, 2 to her back, 1 across her jawline. The coroner later said she was alive during the first 4. Her heart stopped at approximately 11:38 p.m. No one heard the last breath she took. No one came to help. She died alone, in the same home where she once filmed What I Eat in a Day videos. July 14th, 2023, 7:15 p.m. Cordelia Osedion had been calling her daughter's phone for over 24 hours. Straight to voicemail. No updates on WhatsApp. No posts on Instagram. That's when she knew something was wrong. Augusta never went this long without checking in. She reached out to Augusta's friends, her classmates, even a lecturer. Nobody had seen or heard from her since the 12th. By July 15th, Cordelia filed a missing person report. The police were initially slow to act. Maybe she ran off with a boyfriend, one officer said. But then a message came in. Show. Typed. No name. No number. Check the house in Oral Estate. Something bad happened. Cordelia followed the lead herself. When the estate security refused to unlock the house without a warrant, she begged. The landlord finally agreed to open the door. What they saw inside broke them all. The room smelled like copper and rot. Blood had dried on the tiles. The air conditioner was off. The windows shut. And Augusta was there, on the floor, in a dress she wore in one of her recent Instagram photos. Makeup still faintly visible. Wig disheveled. Neck bent unnaturally. Cordelia's scream echoed across the estate. "That's my baby. That's my baby. Wake up. Wake up now." She grabbed her, tried to lift her, cried into her blood-stained shirt. Security guards stood frozen. Neighbors wept from afar. She was gone. Not to old age, not to illness, but to the hands of someone she once trusted with her heart. Benjamin Best was gone. Vanished. He didn't report the incident. He didn't call the family. He didn't even turn off the lights. But what he did do was post a photo of himself, shirtless, at what looked like an airport lounge. Caption: "Life teaches us the hard way. R.I.P. my heart." He added a broken heart emoji. People thought it was a breakup announcement. They didn't know he meant it literally. A day later, another story. "I never thought I'd be capable of this. God forgive me." He followed that with a screenshot of a Bible verse from Psalms. "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." He was posting confessions, but giving no closure, no address, no apology to her family. Just cryptic captions and philosophical rants. Instagram detectives were already on the case. Someone commented, "Turn yourself in, you coward." Another wrote, "You killed Augusta. You think we don't know?" But Benjamin didn't reply. Instead, he posted a selfie in sunglasses and tagged his location as everywhere and nowhere. When the media broke the story, the internet erupted. Nigerian influencer murdered by boyfriend after lavish gifts. That was the headline. But the real storm happened on social media. Her last Instagram post, where she wore a red dress and captioned it "Soft Life or Nothing," became a memorial. Thousands of comments poured in. "You were light. You didn't deserve this. He'll pay. I swear he'll pay. Rest, Queen. We'll scream your name forever." TikTokers posted tributes. A hashtag trended for days. Hashtag Justice for Augusta. Hashtag Say Her Name. Hashtag Love Shootin' T-Kill. At Leeds City University, her classmates held a candlelight vigil. Photos of her in graduation robes, in class selfies, in birthday parties were all printed and pinned to a board titled, "Gone Too Soon." Cordelia attended, holding the same framed photo of her daughter that she kept beside her bed. When asked what she wanted from the justice system, she said, "I just want my child back. But if I can't have that, then I want the truth to haunt him forever." After Augusta's body was found and the photos leaked, Benjamin Best didn't hide his face. He posted a selfie, then another, and then came the story that changed everything. Black background, white text. "I'm not proud of what I did. I lost my temper. I made a mistake I can never fix. I killed the woman I love. I don't deserve peace." The internet exploded. It was the confession. He admitted it, openly, on social media. But he didn't stop there. "She kept threatening to leave me. She said I was dangerous. But I loved her too much to lose her." He made himself the victim. A heartbroken monster. A man who snapped. "I don't expect forgiveness, but I want to say sorry." To her mother. To her friends. "I didn't plan to kill her. It just happened." But nothing just happens 11 stab wounds later. Nothing just happens when you leave a body to rot. Nothing just happens when you flee the country with a fake name. Interpol launched an alert. Nigerian police issued a red notice. A border surveillance tip-off from Sierra Leone revealed that someone matching Benjamin's description had entered the country with a false identity. Kanu Princeton Samuel. He had shaved his beard, dyed his hair, used a stolen passport, and was living in a small service apartment in Freetown. Authorities raided the address. But Benjamin was already gone. He'd checked out 24 hours earlier. By the time investigators traced him to the Gambia, he was boarding a private boat. From there, he vanished again. For 5 months, there was no sign of him. Until a lucky fingerprint match in Qatar flagged at Hamad International Airport in Doha, set off alarms. An immigration officer ran a biometric scan and found inconsistencies in the passport. His real name popped up on the Interpol screen. Benjamin Best had been found, wearing a luxury hoodie and holding a fake business visa. April 2025. In a heavily guarded extradition operation, Qatar handed Benjamin over to Nigerian authorities. Footage of his arrival at Murtala Muhammad International Airport was aired on primetime news. Cameras zoomed in as he was escorted by masked officers, his wrists cuffed, his expression blank. Not once did he look at the crowd. Not once did he cry. He was taken straight to Panti Criminal Investigation Department, where he was processed and held in solitary. Journalists gathered outside. A chant broke out. "Say her name, Augusta. Say her name, Augusta." Online, her photos resurfaced. Her TikToks, her laughs, her goals. One clip in particular went viral again. An old video where she talked about surviving heartbreak. "I don't think real love should hurt. I think it should feel safe. Like home." The comments section flooded. She knew. She saw it coming. We failed her. October 2025, the courtroom. The courtroom was packed. Family, journalists, students, activists, celebrities, strangers, all waiting to see if justice would be served. Benjamin sat in the defendant's box, dressed in a plain brown jumpsuit, staring at the floor. Cordelia sat across from him, in black. She didn't blink, didn't cry, didn't flinch. The trial lasted 6 days. The prosecution presented forensic evidence, blood spatter patterns, autopsy photos, Augusta's deleted messages, her voice notes. They painted a clear picture. This wasn't a one-time snap. This was a pattern, a slow, calculated unraveling of a young woman's life, culminating in a violent, premeditated act. The defense tried to argue mental illness, that he had grown up with trauma, that he was triggered, that he was devastated by her trying to leave him. They said Augusta's silence pushed him over the edge. But the evidence didn't lie. Her bruises, her silence, her unread messages. And then Cordelia took the stand. She read a statement, letter by letter, her voice trembling but never breaking. "My daughter died believing she didn't matter. But she did. And you don't get to walk free just because you couldn't control your rage." The room held its breath. And when the judge read the verdict, guilty of murder in the first degree, Cordelia exhaled and whispered, "We see you now." The verdict was just the beginning. News outlets called it a turning point in how intimate partner violence was viewed in Nigeria. Augusta's story wasn't the first of its kind, but it struck differently because it was public, because it was pretty, because she had done everything right. She loved, forgave, stayed, and still, she died. The Augusta Foundation was created 6 weeks after the trial. Run by her mother and a board of domestic violence survivors, it provides legal aid, mental health support, and emergency housing for women in danger. They launched a campaign titled, "Red Flags Aren't Accessories." Posters appeared in malls, schools, and clinics. Billboards in Lagos read, "Love shouldn't kill you. If you're scared to leave, call us." Donations flooded in from around the world. Meanwhile, platforms like Instagram and TikTok came under fire. Why hadn't anyone flagged Augusta's silent cries? Why weren't private DMs and metadata used in real-time investigations? Why is romantic obsession still packaged as love? Conversations shifted. Laws were drafted. A new task force on gender-based online manipulation was proposed. People began listening. Because Augusta wasn't just a case. She was a mirror, a warning, a woman who smiled, even while drowning. In one of her last journals, Augusta wrote, "One day, I want to be the kind of woman girls look up to. Not for how I look, but for how I survived." She didn't get the chance to survive, but her story is doing what she dreamed. Raising awareness, giving language to the silenced, saving others. And as for Benjamin, he'll serve a life sentence. But it's not enough. Not for what he stole. Not for the daughter Cordelia will never hug again. Not for the dreams that will never be fulfilled. Not for the mornings Augusta will never wake up to. But maybe, just maybe, it's a start. If this story moved you, don't scroll past it. Comment her name. Say it loud. Augusta Osedion. Because she mattered. Because women like her still live among us, smiling in selfies, hiding their bruises beneath filters. They need your voice. They need your eyes. And if you are her, if you're watching this and thinking this feels too familiar, please don't wait for it to get worse. You deserve to live. You deserve peace. You deserve to make it to your next birthday. Rest in power, Augusta. This story is yours. But the ending? Let it save someone else.